Welcome back to Red Cedar Radar. This week, I kick off my women's sport at MSU series with a favorite of mine that I've been a fan of for a while, Stacy Slobodnik-Stoll, longtime golf coach, women's golf coach at MSU. Welcome, Stacy, to the podcast. It's great to have you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to start, I kind of want a little bit of a background on how you got started with golf and how you ended up at MSU.
Okay. I got started in golf from my family, mainly my dad. So he played golf in college, and that's all we really did as kids was we were fortunate enough to be members of a country club over in Grand Rapids, and we all summer, that's what we did. We swam and we golfed. And so that was really my beginning to golf, although I wasn't overly interested in it until I got to high school. My parents kind of made me choose between a couple different sports. And I also used to dance actually. And they said, okay, pick one of them. And I know my dad's fingers were crossed behind his back that I was going to pick golf. So luckily I picked golf and it went really well in high school. And then I was fortunately recruited by Michigan State to play here. And our pro at our course, Lynn Jansen, is one of the best players that Michigan State on the men's side has ever had. So he was definitely a mentor and an influence in my life and helped me get to Michigan State. So that's how I got here.
Yeah. And you have been here and had an amazing career ever since. 23 NCAA regional appearances, 13 trips to the NCAA championships, and 8 Big Ten titles. When you think about all of those accomplishments, is there anything that sticks out to you as a favorite moment that you can pick out kind of off the top of your head? I know that's a big ask, but
there's been so many great moments, and really what the moments are. Really, the moments that mean the most are when you've made a difference in young people's lives, and the winning and the trophies and the rings, that is certainly fun. And I love that part of my job. But really what matters is knowing that Michigan State and our team and I myself as a coach have had influence, have helped young people better themselves in their lives and prepare them for life after Michigan State. So those are really the moments I cherish the most. But, a most recent one that I would say was pretty special was winning an NCAA regional, which is something we'd never done. So
right.
That one kind of goes down in the books as pretty cool.
Of course. Yeah, definitely. That was Palm Beach, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. My next question kind of goes along with what you said. What are your favorite things about coaching? Tell me some more about your philosophy of being a coach for so long, why you stayed so long, and just, the things that keep you coming back to coaching at MSU and coaching young people.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you'll find out as you get older, it doesn't seem like that long. And although
it flies by probably, yeah.
The years sound like a lot. I mean, I think when you're in coaching and you're around the same age person, your whole life, 18 to 22-year-old young people, it doesn't ever really feel like, it's that long. And I guess when I look at the number of years, I know I have been doing this a long time, but I just can't say enough about the career path that I chose and what I get to do every day. And, it's just so much fun because I don't ever have to just sit at a desk, for 6 or 7 or 8 hours a day. It's always something new. It's always something different. There's always challenges. Recruiting in this day and age is certainly very interesting. And you've got NIL, you've got the portal, and you've got kids now who are coming from a different generation and a different upbringing, different influences in our society and in our culture. So, I've had to change and adapt along with everything that's been happening. I can't stay stagnant or say, well, this is how we've always done it, or this is what we used to do, because my players don't really care what we used to do. They want to do what's best for us right now.
Right.
There's so many things about this job that I just love. I love the competition. I love coaching young people. I really enjoy being around the donors and fundraising, and I love selling my school. I love promoting our school. And we've just been able to really put Michigan State golf on the national map. And so many of our alumni and our donors recognize that, and I'm very thankful for that. We've also excelled in the classroom. I think that continues to catch a lot of people's eye, is we're not only winning championships on the golf course, but we are very, very, very good in the classroom as well. So I think everyone sees that we're producing amazing young women who, whether it's they go out on tour or whether they go stay in the golf business or they go into business of them, for themselves or with another company, they're just always doing good things and they're always representing Michigan State University.
Something that you mentioned has been a topic on my podcast over the past couple of episodes about recruiting and NIL and all of the changes that have happened. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that has changed your process and kind of what that sort of looks like now compared to maybe how things were before?
Right. Well, it's definitely added a different element to what I have to do because,
Yeah.
Just add another thing on the plate is making sure that we're, what I say, like in the game with NIL. So this year we were the first women's golf team in the country to have an all team NIL deal, which we are so thankful for that. And, I just feel like we have to do that in order to keep up with what's going on. And I don't ever want a recruit to sit, across from me at my desk saying, well, what is your NIL deal? And me looking at them and saying, we don't have one. That's not really acceptable if I want to continue to maintain our program as one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
So that's really, again, another thing that is added onto the coach's plate to make sure that is happening. And it's also hard because, we rely on donations from people outside of,
Right.
The program to be able to do what we do. And so now it's just like another area that we're fundraising money for is for NIL. And the transfer portal, I think is, in most situations a shame. We spend a lot of time recruiting players and making sure they're the players that belong at Michigan State. And I think, for the NCAA to give so many people the opportunity just to walk out with no strings attached. I'm not sure we're teaching young people, what figuring things out mean, there's going to be struggles in life. You're not going to get along with every single person that you encounter. And in the workforce, you have to learn to deal with those people. And I think giving young people the opportunity just to walk away because they don't like something or other, whether it be at the university or in the program, and again, if it were happening a little bit, that's one thing, but I listen to Coach Izzo so much of how many basketball players are in the transfer portal. It's over 1,000. And that those numbers are shocking to me. And so I'm just not sure that it's great for college athletics.
Yeah, it is a shift that I've had many guests on, and everyone kind of has that same opinion about it, that it has run a little bit wild and there's maybe not the regulations and NIL too that there should be, and maybe those will come down the pipeline eventually, but right now it's kind of like the Wild West a little bit. So yeah, interesting take from your point of view, because that's kind of what I've been hearing also.
Yes.
So to switch gears really quick, speaking of you and Tom Izzo, I remember watching, I think it was the Spartans All Access that you did together. And something that I remember, and I don't remember the exact words of what you guys were talking about, but it was fostering programs that aren't occasionally good. It was always about being at that level all the time. And I want to know your take a little bit more about what goes into fostering a culture of like that level of greatness all the time. If you can give me like maybe a couple points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think sometimes I don't always like have the answers of how we've done that.
Right.
Right. I think sometimes things are just meant to be and they're in your nature and how you operate. I would say that I have very high expectations for my student athletes, for myself, and for everyone that surrounds me. I like to work hard, I like to compete, and I like to win. And I also feel that, I was brought up, my dad used to always tell me, if you're going to do something, do it the right way. And so I always have felt like if I'm going to put my time and energy into something, we're going to win and we're going to be good at what we do. And so we just continually create and recruit players that are very aware that, we don't feel like we have any limitations at Michigan State. We don't have any excuses at Michigan State. And there's no reason why we can't be one of the best teams in the country. And we certainly have proved that we are over the past 20 plus years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Last question. I want to talk about looking ahead to next season. Talk to me about roster makeup, a little more maybe of a nitty gritty question. Who left, who's coming back, kind of what that looks like for next year.
Well, the 5 players that won the NCAA regional and played in the national championship will all be returning.
Yes. Okay.
And then we will be adding 2 new players, one Ana Sofia Murcia from Colombia, South America,
Okay.
a very good friend of Valerie Plata, who's our player that just left MSU to go on the LPGA tour, full status. And then we have a young Canadian woman named Ella Weber who will be joining us.
Okay.
And then last year we also had a freshman that was our 6th player, Paula Balazantegi. And so she's obviously returning. She'll only be a sophomore. And then we had a redshirt freshman, Caroline McConnell, who's from Pennsylvania, who will be coming back. So we really have quite a star-studded lineup. Valentina Rossi will be playing in the Avion and the British here in a couple weeks. And,
Okay.
so incredible player, 2021 USAM semifinalist, won the Annika Latin America last November. And you add the strength of Brooke Bierman, who won the NCAA regional, and she's an incredible player. And then you've got Katie Liu, Shannon Kennedy, also returning. So pretty exciting from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
There's going to be some big time competition in qualifying, which will be the times that we play, 3 rounds of 18 to determine who the top 5 players will be. That's going to be stiff, I'm guessing. That's a coach's dream. I can't wait for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's going to be the makeup of our team. Still pretty young, and looking forward to having them all back on campus next month.
Yeah, super exciting. Last question. Any specific goals for next season? Do you have your sights set on anything of note that you want to go after?
Sure. I mean, the goals really have always been the same since I started coaching, and that's to win a Big Ten championship. We're still trying to keep up with Coach Izzo. And so we're a couple behind. We got to get a couple more under our belt. And I really feel like we're going to have the firepower to do that this year. And again, another big goal is to make it to the top 15 at the national championship after the first cut, and then make the top 8 in match play. And with the experience that we had this year at the national championship and being so close to the top 15, again, I think our players are more and more hungry, understanding how close we were to that goal and how realistic it is for us. So
yeah, absolutely.
2 things. And then also, of course, always trying to maintain the highest team GPA of any team on campus. So this past semester, it was the highest ever of any team in the history of our athletic department. So that was pretty good. And our players, are like, well, let's just try and get a 4-point. That's a pretty lofty goal, but I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow achieved it one of these semesters.
Well, perfect goals. And I love the GPA thrown in also. Shows that you're really putting out well-rounded individuals out of your program. And I love that. Those are all my questions. Thank you very much, Stacy, for joining, and go green.
Thank you. Go white.